Recording.
Hi, welcome back to my channel. I'm Jazz, this is Travels and Fiction, and I am so excited for this video. So, I hope that you liked my very dramatic and moody introduction. I wanted to set the tone for the video. Shout out, by the way, to Ben for the beautiful guitar playing in the background. I suck at the guitar, but Ben's amazing at it. So shout out to him for doing the little background intro of No Body, No Crime. Firstly, if you are not a Taylor Swift fan, I still think you will enjoy this video, but some of the weird references may be lost on you, but I think the recommendations are still going to be interesting. So do stick around, or just be like, no thank you, and you can leave. Like, I'm not judging you. I've had this idea ever since listening to Evermore and hearing No Body, No Crime for the first time, and it just hit so different. It's definitely, I think, the track on the album that like really stands out and really like, it shook me up when I first listened to it and I couldn't stop listening to it. It was that first addictive song for me. I now love a lot of the songs, but it is one I gravitate back towards for like it's just a murder ballad bop. Like, I saw a tweet the other day that was like, every album deserves a murder ballad bop like No Body, No Crime, and I was like, it does. It's so good. So what I thought would be really fun is to pick 5 books that give me the same vibe as No Body, No Crime. If you've never heard the song, now probably would be a good time to pause and go and listen to it and then come back. So they're not gonna be the same plot or anything, obviously, but either whether it was like certain lyrics that just kind of like reminded me of a book, or just the whole vibe of the song is so like, I can't describe it, which is not good when you're making a video. But these 5 books I've picked all vaguely make me think of that song, or they give me the same feelings inside. So before we jump into the recommendations, I also wanted to quickly shout out Tis the Damn Readathon, which I am low-key taking part in this March. I saw the announcement on Emma from Drinking by My Shelf's channel, but I believe it's hosted by a fair few booktubers. I will link them below, and I will link the card that they've got where you can find out more about the readathon. But it's a Taylor Swift readathon happening in March, so I'm going to be incorporating what books I read for that in my wrap-up as opposed to a separate video. So throughout my wrap-up I'll be saying what books I've read for each prompt. But yeah, I thought it'd be fun to kind of time this at the same time as that readathon happening, just because, you know, Taylor Swift. It's funny, I was never even that big of a Taylor Swift fan, and Folklore and Evermore have just completely destroyed me. Okay, let's get into the recommendations. Okay, so as you saw, I do not have a physical copy of this book, but the first book I have picked is Not a Sound by Heather Gudenkopf. I got this book out of the library. So the reason I picked this book is because this is a thriller set in kind of like remote-ish location. We follow a deaf woman called Amelia, and at the start of the novel, she discovers the body of a fellow nurse with her hearing dog Stitch, and we kind of go from there. It's very atmospheric and like plot focused. The most important thing for me in terms of the giving it the same vibe as No Body, No Crime is that it's set throughout water. Like, water plays like a very heavy part in this book. Amelia kayaks a lot, or is it paddleboarding? She's on the water a lot. She discovers the body whilst kayaking. There's a lot of focus about water. When I was listening to the song and it was like, good thing my daddy made me get a boating license when I was 15, I was like, Amelia, it's Amelia. Because she doesn't drive a boat, but like, and also it's like completely different motives, but it just really gave me that same vibe. It's a really good thriller, so that is the first one. Okay, so the second book My Sister the Serial Killer by Oyinkan Braithwaite. So literally following on from the last lyric where it goes, and I've cleaned enough houses to know how to cover up a scene. By the way, I'm so sorry for my singing. I'm fully aware that I can't sing, but I'm trying to demonstrate the vibes. That truly reminded me of this book. And then also the lyric where it kind of talks about Estee's sister, and it's like, good thing Estee's sister's gonna swear she was with me. She was with me, dude. That part, fully My Sister the Serial Killer vibes. I mean, My Sister the Serial Killer. I think this is a very obvious recommendation, but it's a good one, you know? In the same way that the song sort of gives me the like sibling and like friendship loyalty vibes, this book does too, in that this book is based on Korede and Ayula's relationship, and right at the beginning of the novel, and like the whole premise is based off the fact that Ayula calls Korede because she has murdered another one of her boyfriends and she wants Korede to come help her clean up the mess. And so it's like all talking about like how Korede does not agree with this at all, but like sibling loyalty, and we go from there. However, what happens to the sibling loyalty when Ayula starts dating a doctor at the same place where she is, a nurse? So interesting and so good. Just a very funny, kind of like eerie, kind of like poignant read. Kind of gives me every single one of the same vibes I get when I listen to No Body, No Crime. If you haven't read this one's very much blown up, and like, I think rightfully so. Give it a read, you will not regret it. Okay, so the next book, I'm finding it difficult to even explain because it's not even a thriller. I mean, it kind of has thriller aspects, but it's not based in a thriller. And that is Bear Town by Frederick Backman. So I have picked a lyric that kind of gives me the vibes, but it's not. Let me tell you and then I will explain. So the part in the song where it's like, SD wasn't there Tuesday night at Olive Garden and a job anywhere. He reports his missing wife, and I noticed when I pass his house, his truck has got some brand new tires. That bit, that community culture of like noticing that sort of shit, like that vibe of like going past someone's house and noticing they've got new tires on their truck, just reminds me of Bear Town, and I just can't explain why. For those who don't know, this book is based in a very small knit community in Sweden. It is a Swedish translation. It is very much based in this town and the people in this town, and the whole book kind of centres around this ice hockey team, and they are kind of the only thing keeping this town on the map, which sounds like a really boring book. However, it's not. As we go throughout, we realise that a very traumatic event has happened, and it is very much kind of uncovering like what has happened, and then community culture and blame and like people knitting together against people. I will say there are trigger warnings for rape and sexual assault in this book, so do tread cautiously if you are going to read it. The way it explores how communities act as a whole together, as a big like chunk, as opposed to like individual people like looking at a situation and like conformity, is so interesting, and it is nothing like the song. It is nothing like it, but it just gives me the same vibes. I think it is the small knit community aspect, the small little actions, like noticing that the tires on this guy's truck are new. I feel like is something we would have seen in Bear Town had that sort of situation been relevant. So take that recommendation as you will. Less direct, more vibes, atmospheric vibes, and one of my favourite books of all time. Okay, so the next book is What Happened That Night by Deanna Cameron. Again, nothing similar to the actual song, it's the vibes, I think, and again, sort of with the sibling relationship. The whole chorus basically vaguely reminds me of it, even though it's like not the same at all. The whole bit where it's like, they think she did it, but they just can't prove it. They think she did it, but they... yeah. This book is not that. However, it is much more like, they know she did it, but they don't know why. You know, it's a why done it, not a who done it. But it does give similar vibes. Again, before heading into this book, I will say trigger warnings for sexual assault and rape. Do look up the trigger warnings if you're going to head into this one. I will pop a trigger warning website down below actually where you can like check them all out. This book follows a girl called Clara, and 4 months previous, Clara's sister murdered Griffin Tomlin. We are now 4 months on. Her sister is awaiting trial for murder. Everyone's just kind of like, why? Like, why did she kill him? As we go throughout, and as is kind of stated on the blurb, is that the only story that needs to be told? Is there another story lurking under this story? So good. I feel like this book, it's not the same vibes, but I imagine, like, you know, 4 months after the song No Body, No Crime, I feel like this is where this book is set in the setting. Do you know what I mean? If you know the song, do you know what I mean? It's kind of like exploring not who and like the initial drama as the song is, it's exploring why and like what happened. And obviously in the song we get the why and the who as to like what happens, but in this book we get the why. So really interesting, really not the same as the song, but same vibes again, same vibes. Okay, so the final recommendation is Allegedly by Tiffany D. Jackson. This book, do you know what? I originally did not have this book on this list, and then I was lying in the bath and it was literally a light bulb moment, and I literally sat up like, Allegedly, because that whole book is like the epitome of the song. I mean, it's not, but it is. It kind of takes that whole aspect of the end of the song where it's like, they think she did it, but they just can't prove it. She thinks I did it, but she just can't prove it. No, nobody, no crime. Does anyone else ever sing Nobody? I always sing Nobody. Anyway, that whole vibe of like, who did it at the end, where like external people don't know what's happened. The only people that know what happened are the people that have done it / haven't done it, like, is the epitome of Allegedly. Allegedly is a young adult thriller. Again, trigger warnings for a lot of things. I will leave them below. It is not a light book. It's very dark and gritty actually, and very heavy. We follow Mary, who is 15, and she is living in a group home for kids and teenagers that have been in the juvenile justice system. And she is there because when she was 9 years old, she killed a baby, allegedly. And the whole book is following Mary as she avidly denies that she did not kill this baby. And it explores family relationships, it explores psychological trauma, it explores mental illness, it explores racism within the justice system. It is a fantastic book. This was Tiffany D. Jackson's debut. I love Tiffany D. Jackson. She is one of my favourite writers. In the same way that the song very much takes you on a journey, this book takes you on a journey. You won't know what happens until the end, like you won't know what happens until the end in the song. Like, for the entire book, I was questioning what happened. I was like, okay, this is actually what happened. Nope, okay, this is actually what happened. You just don't know because, like, Mary is such an unreliable narrator, and in the song obviously Taylor is also a very unreliable narrator. And so it's just very like, it captures that vibe of like what's happened here, you know. So those are my recommendations. I hope that you enjoyed. I hope that you liked this style of video. It's like a bit of a random one, but like I had a lot of fun figuring out which books I really wanted to recommend. So many didn't make the cut. To name a few, Little Fires Everywhere just really gives me the same vibes, but for no particular reason. Genuine Fraud by E. Lockhart, unreliable narrator vibes to the extreme. Yeah, there's just so many books I could have chosen, but these are the ones that I went for. Let me know what you think. Let me know if you enjoyed it. Let me know what books you would have chosen that give you the same vibe as No Body, No Crime. What a specific question. If you watched all the way to the end, but you're not in a very commenty space, I see you. Just leave me a little musical note so that I know that you're here. Thank you so much for watching. This was really fun. Let me know if you'd like to see more videos like this. I don't know what video this is. I guess books based on songs, like a very specific niche, but I hope that you enjoyed. And I will see you in a new video. Bye. We go around here. Can you see me?
Nope.
And his mistress moved in. Shoots and hefties better than everything.